keep rolling on. My feelings remain strong for the last 30 years, for the last 30 years. As we're counting down the years, the laughter and the tears, for the last 30 years, for the last 30 years.
And welcome to the Last 30 Years podcast. Holy shit.
Wow, like this is a podcast still? Because like I can see you, Vin.
I can see you. I don't
You
think
are,
I'm able. Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta tell you, man, you are a stud.
It's just the camera filters. This is the vanilla ice filter. See that?
Oh, that's what it is. Ice,
Yeah.
ice, baby. Yeah, I love it. It looks good. I
Yeah.
can't believe it.
Yeah. Very good. It's good. I like your living room background there. Is that a virtual background or is that your actual house?
No, that's we're living just a little under the wire right now. We're just trying to maintain a certain image, and just want to keep things low key, right? Plain.
There you go.
Lots of white.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, man. You contrast with your it looks like you've tanned a little bit.
Well, I did spend a couple of minutes outside. It felt really good, you know that. I'm getting ready. We've got a big rainstorm coming tomorrow. So I went out and I worked on my sunburn a little bit.
Oh, geez. Literally, you're like 2 minutes. You're like a good steak. You put it on the grill for like a couple of seconds each side, and it's done.
Bro, 30 seconds, bro. 30 seconds in a hot cast iron pan. I am roasted.
Well, this is a monumentous occasion for us because we've actually entered the 21st century. We are now a video podcast. Going to be streaming on YouTube. I think it's going to be fun. People are get to see our reactions, get to see how many times I roll my eyes at you because I already saw your list today for the show and my eyes are already rolling in the back of my head. But anyways, it is what it is. But it's good. We're gonna have more of a reach. I think it's important to, YouTube's such a big part of, entertainment today, social media, and it was just not cutting it enough just to be an audio podcast. You're welcome to listen to us on your audio streaming services because we're still going to be there, but we're going to be on YouTube. We're going to have TikTok shorts, Instagram shorts, I guess. We're going to be on Facebook. So we're going to be a little bit everywhere. So we're going to get your nostalgia on with the Last 30 Years podcast. And I guess we'll start off, Mike. Any words before we get into the show?
Well, actually, I do have something that I really want to address right off the top here. You're talking about moving into the 21st century, and I got to tell you, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
I am. It's so nice that you finally joined us on TikTok.
And my first TikTok, what was it? It was an Oscar not Oscar the Grouch. It was Cookie Monster being voiced by Al Pacino.
Yeah, and it was the bear paws and the chocolate chip cookies, and I think I've seen some Oreos on there. I gotta tell you, listen, if you guys are on TikTok, you need to go check out Vin Mancini's TikTok. It is, it's more next level than the Blue Jays.
Really? Blue Jays? You're gonna mention the Blue Jays? Hey, did your team win today, by the way? Did the Niners win? I hope they beat the Browns. I didn't watch the game.
Why you got to start off like that? This is a monumental day, and the first thing you're going to do is just dump on me. Like, I thought we were friends, and you just want to hurt my feelings,
Bro, you always dump on me.
Hurt my feelings today. But I'll tell you, it was the ref's fault. You know that.
All right, well, we'll go with that. But so I'm guessing the Browns won. I hate the Browns, man. I'm a Steelers fan. You know that. I was rooting for you.
I know, and that's probably where everything went sideways.
You see, every team I watch, this is what happens to me anyway, or I cheer for. But no, we had a good hockey weekend, so we're not a sports podcast. We're just gonna segue right into it. So what's the title today, Mike? What's the title of our show? Because we did a big revamp, right? Before we even start that, if you go on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you're gonna notice there's only a handful of shows there now. I think there's maybe 15 or 20. For those of you watching the first time on YouTube, I'll give a quick history of TL30. Can you allow me a couple of minutes, Mike, and you could chime in where you want if you feel like you need to.
If you want a couple of minutes to like talk about TL30, like okay. If you want to jump in and do that, that'd be fantastic. I will be happy to say that I was the original Dirty 30, the TL30 super fan.
You were.
Yeah.
So I'll just allow you to look ginger for a few minutes there. Very nice ginger beard there that you got going. I'm just gonna. I do. We don't have 15 shows. I think we started in 2019, and I started with my buddy Wade, who goes by the name of Darth Grouch. And the reason why he goes by that is because he's a Star Wars nerd. He was born in the 70s. He's as old as dirt. But honestly, he's a big Darth Vader fan, and he also, I think his spirit animal is Oscar the Grouch. So he combined those two, and he's Darth Grouch. That was his name. And he and I started this nostalgia podcast. Actually, before we started the nostalgia podcast, we started off as a show called Get Me Off This Planet. So it was like contemporary stuff. It was all, we were talking politics, we're talking about a whole bunch of shit. Then we decided to go into nostalgia. And we talked about a lot of stuff that market manager Mike and I have been talking about for quite some time now. And he moved on. He went on a small little hiatus. And as he went on this hiatus, I needed someone to backfill his role. And market manager Mike came on, and he was a super fan. He listened to us from day one. He tells me all the time how bad those first shows were, and he came on as a guest.
I know, but that was because of Gibby, though.
That was because Gibby was on the show too.
Gibby was on the original episodes. Yes, that wasn't you guys. That was the Gibster.
No, the Gibster, yeah. So moving on from the Gibster, we had you on as the shirtless Scotian. So you came on as a character that told us the Hollywood contemporary news with your shirt off. That was your gimmick. Ladies, you missed it, man. We didn't have a video at that time, but yeah, that was the gimmick. Then he came, and Mike is now the co-host. So that's pretty much TL30 in a nutshell. So for those of you who are just joining now and finding us on YouTube, thanks to the good old algorithms, that's what it's about. Anything else to add, Mike? Did I miss anything? Those are the Coles notes.
No, I think that those are fantastic. And like TL30's got a great history there. It was a fun podcast. I love listening to it, and I loved coming on board. I guess we've kind of ripped the Band-Aid off a little bit. Yes, it is true that I did used to play the shirtless Scotian, but you will notice that I am indeed wearing a shirt, even though it doesn't have any sleeves on it. But that's just mostly because I'm exceedingly musculature, and they rip as soon as I put them on.
You are incredibly, incredibly in denial. Anyways, we're good to go. Let's start off with the show. So what's the title of the show, man? I've been working all day on setting up this stream. So let's go. What are we talking about?
You want a title? You want to know something? What we're going to talk about this evening? I'm really excited. We are going to talk about 80s TV moms.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you think about TV moms, right? Because I think in the 70s, that's when things started to change a little bit. If Darth was here, he'd probably be able to tell us a little bit more about that. But the female moms or characters in the 50s and in the 60s, even going into the early 70s, they were always like, very subversive. They were in their corner. The husband was always right. And it was like, honey, I'm home type of thing. And then as you moved into like shows like All in the Family, you started the female mom and role model really started to come out a little bit, and women started going into the spotlight more than men, I would have to say. So the 80s definitely was a big turning point for the female mom character, and we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about our 5 top TV moms of the 1980s.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, this was a hard list to do. That I had a hard time putting this list together. But I invested a little bit of time, and I fired up the old Google machine, and I'm kind of excited to start this list off, if you don't mind, Vin Mancini.
All right. Well, what's your number 5?
So my number 5 is, and you had kind of spoke to this about TV moms kind of coming into, more fruition, being more part of the spotlight.
Mhm.
And I couldn't help but select none other than Angela Bauer from Who's the Boss?
What? That's
as
not your
my
number.
5.
No, you didn't. That's not your number 5. Your number 5 was somebody else.
My number 5 was somebody else.
Yes. And I gave you shit for it. And I actually put it as a show banner, so you're going with that one.
Oh my God. Do I absolutely have to go in the exact order that I went with?
Yes.
Oh
Because when we
my
prepare
God.
for a show, that's how it is.
All right, fine. I will go with the list then.
Thank you.
Jesus, man. Okay,
Clown shoes.
fine. I
Go for it.
selected for number 5 none other than the legendary Bev Goldberg.
You see, and I'm so happy that we went this route. Bev Goldberg. Does anybody who watched the Goldbergs here?
Everybody, I would assume,
Yeah.
watched the Goldbergs.
When
Yeah,
was the
right?
When was the Goldbergs made?
That's a great question. When exactly was it made?
Yeah, what year was that?
Oh, I would assume anywhere from 1980 until 1990.
No.
Whoa, what do you mean no?
Dude, that show was made in 2013.
The Goldbergs?
Yes, the Goldbergs, you idiot.
With
That's not-
Beverly
it
Goldberg?
was-
Are you sure? She looks like she's straight out of the 80s.
Because it's based on a show in the 80s, moron.
Well, it's a made-up TV show, so yeah, she's a TV mom of the 80s.
She's not a TV mom of the 80s.
What? I
at
don't
all.
understand what you're
She's
saying. How
not.
can you say she's not a TV mom of the 80s?
Listen,
It's a
we're not
show
even, we're not even
based in
12
the-
minutes. We're not even 12 minutes into this podcast. You're already getting me fucking. Sir, can I say the F word on YouTube? You're already getting me nervous. All right? You're getting me frustrated already.
You can get nervous, you can get frustrated. I have no issues with that. The problem is that you just continually think that you're right, but you're wrong. It's kind of like, it's like as if you were saying Back to the Future, right? That didn't happen in the time that they said it happened in, did it?
What are you talking about?
Back to the Future, right? It's still, so it's a movie. It happened in the past, but it's, obviously not a movie from, the 70s, 80s, or 90s.
Yeah,
right?
but I wouldn't.
The Goldbergs is obviously a TV show.
No, I wouldn't say that Lorraine Baines is a movie mom of the 50s. The movie was done in 1985.
Exactly. So Back to the Future is pretty much a TV mom show.
What are you talking about?
I'm telling you, plain and simple, that the Goldbergs with Beverly Goldberg is a TV show of the 80s.
You are a complete utter fool. There's nothing else to say.
I don't understand why you're so upset. It's my list.
I know, and that's why I wanted you to go with number 5 because it's ridiculous. Your number 5 is someone that, anyways. All right, man. You know what? You want to start off this way? It's fine. Can I go to my number 5?
You can go to your number
right.
5 if
All
you
right.
would like to.
Mine was a real 80s TV mom. And none other than Roseanne. All right? Roseanne Barr. You watched Roseanne, right? Tell me you watched Roseanne.
You mean the one that just got kicked out? Roseanne is not a TV show of the 80s. That was a show that was just made.
You are something else, eh? Oh my God. The worst part about this is that when we were doing these podcasts, off camera, I would lose my mind. Now I got to smile. I got to smile and pretend nothing bothers me, which is great.
Roseanne, what was that? 2018? I feel like it was a couple of years ago.
That was a reboot, you asshole.
That's not a reboot. It's a TV show. You're talking about Roseanne, right? So that's not a TV mom of the 80s. Surely to God, if Bev Goldberg isn't a TV mom of the 80s, then Roseanne definitely isn't. 2018 isn't even close to 1980.
You know very well that Roseanne was a show in the 1980s that they rebooted in 2018.
I don't know that, man. You are a strange human being, you know. You just I can't wrap my head around you sometimes.
All right.
I don't get it.
So the reason I chose Roseanne, I'm just going to go right into it. Okay. The reason I chose Roseanne is because she represented the real American. First of all, the family was a real American family. I think as real as you can get. Right? It wasn't the who's the boss, Tony does. Hey, wait, hey. It wasn't any of that. All right. It wasn't what was going on at the time, man. There was the facts of life. All right. I'm
Right?
sorry. All right. As much as I love Mrs. Garrett, like, no, all right, that's not realistic. All right. I mean, it's like in the 70s, they were moving towards more realism, like with All in the Family, where Archie Bunker was this big conservative buffoon, and Edith was smarter than what she let on, which was fantastic about that show. But they ended up with this bubblegum stuff, right? Like Full House, Talk to Wade about Full House. If there's one show you guys have to listen to, okay, one show, there's a Wade show on the list. Sorry to segue into this, but I forgot about that. Listen to the 50 Deaths of Joey Gladstone. Because if anybody hates Full House, it's that man. And our show was about 50 ways Darth would find a way to kill off Joey Gladstone on a show. You have to listen to that if you're a Full House lover or hater. Anyways, on comes this show like Roseanne, which was realistic for a time. They're a Midwestern family, really realistic. They had their problems, overweight, poor, I guess you would say middle class, lower middle class. It's the husband worked hard, she worked hard. They ate family. They ate family together. They ate together as a family. It was realistic, and the stuff they spoke about was realistic. So to me, looking at a mom like that, and we're Canadians. Like you and I are both Canadians. Actually, you're from Nova Scotia, so you're even more Canadian than I am. I'm from Toronto. All right, so Toronto wants to be an American city. You're way more Canadian than I am.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I am excessively Canadian. You know that. We even have Cobra chickens out here by the flock.
What the hell's a Cobra chicken?
You've never heard of a Cobra chicken?
No, is that what you do? You choke the Cobra chicken, eh?
You choke the Cobra chicken. No, you don't choke the Cobra chicken. The Cobra chicken chokes you, Mr. Piranha.
You're so ginger.
My God.
Yeah, but anyway, we grew up with all the same shows you guys grew up with, okay? With the exceptions of Market Manager Mike, who probably watched a lot of Anne and Green Gables or shit like that. I don't know.
Hey, you leave Anne of Green Gables alone. She is a legend.
All right, it's fine. So yeah, Roseanne loved her kids. She had a good way of parenting. It was realistic parenting. It wasn't this, at the end of the show where Danny Tanner would show up into the girls' rooms and he'd be like, did you learn your lesson for the day? And this cheesy, sappy music plays in the background. It was none of that on Roseanne. It was strict. You know what? This is what I think. And, typical mom. I mean, I grew up with a mom like that, and I'm Italian. I'm Italian, and my mom was like an Italian Roseanne. It was very, very simple. We were middle class as well, so there was a lot of shit going on, in that family that I could correlate to. And I think that's what resonated with a lot of American families. And then they came back in 2018 and Roseanne said some stupid shit and she got canceled, unfortunately.
Woo, sounds like a party.
Yeah. Anyway, so Roseanne Barr is my number 5. Your number 4 is in sharp contrast to my number 5.
Well, I don't know if it's in sharp contrast,
Definitely
that I kind of think that I went with somebody that, is pretty appropriate, right? I mean, if you ask me, you went with like a typical family, and I kind of feel like I stayed on that same trend, typical American family, right? I, in my number 4, picked Claire Huxtable from the Bill Cosby Show.
That is super realistic. Claire
It is super accurate.
You are such an idiot.
You want to talk about like an all-around, and I know. I picked, I get it, right? And I'm sure there's going to be lots of jokes that'll be made about this and everything. And that's fine. Don't don't radio me and clip this or anything like that. But
Radio
you want to talk, yeah, radio. You've never heard that term before? Being radioed is where you take like one small clip of what somebody says, and then you take it and you put it out on social media as if it's the only thing, so things get taken out of context.
Oh, okay. No, I don't do that kind of shit.
No, and I know you don't do that kind of stuff or anything like that. It's just it's the kind of thing that I think Gnocchi would probably do. You know, he likes to snip little things that I say and like try to twist them and make it seem like I'm the bad guy or the strange one here. And I want to make sure that that's not going to happen, right?
Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The most unrealistic family, aside from the Tanner family, are the Huxtables.
They were special, you know that, but you want to talk about it. It was a good show, right? I mean, and it went along very well. And I know like all the negative feedback and everything, and I'm not here for any of that. I'm just here to talk about Claire, who I just thought was a supremely entertaining character, right? I thought it worked really well. And, you know, say what you will about everything that went on there. You know, Cosby was entertaining. It was a good show. It was interesting to watch. You know, did things, you know, generally go the same way? Yeah, they certainly did. But it's, you know, it's hard to pass up on an opportunity to talk about a show that went on for such a long time. And it was a lot of fun to watch.
It was such a bubblegum show.
Well, it wasn't bubblegummy. It was, you know, it was
bubblegum. 100% bubblegum.
It was fun. It was good quality entertainment that everybody could enjoy. You know, that I think you just, you know.
Okay, we're not here to talk. We're not here to talk about the show. We're here to talk about Claire. Do you think? Here's a question. Do you think she liked the Jello pudding pop? I'm just asking.
Oh, she loved the Jello pudding pop. Yeah. I bet you she ate it every night. I bet you that was her favorite dessert.
Yeah, I'm pretty
absolutely. Sure. You know that she was amazing.
Did she want to go there willingly, or was she, you know? Okay, I won't even go there. We're a family friendly show.
We are a family friendly show, and she was a down to earth, kind, compassionate, you know, loving.
Yes.
She was everything you could possibly ask for in a TV mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Except being realistic. I love how the 80s were like, they were teetering on that. God, so terrible. Anyways, okay. So Claire Huxtable is yours. Any particular Claire Huxtable moment that sticks out to you? Besides possibly enjoying the Jello pudding pop?
Oh, come on. That's everybody's favorite.
Yeah. She loved her Jello pudding pop.
She loved the Jello pudding pop. You know that. Yeah. I got to say, her hair on point. Like, if that's not an 80s mom haircut, I don't know what is.
And she woke up that way. I think, how many episodes did you see where she woke up? She was in her, like, robe and shit, and she was, like, full makeup, and the hair was on point. I don't know about you. My wife looks terrible when she wakes up in the morning.
That's probably because of the pudding pop the night before.
You're already making me snort laugh. So all right. Okay, so that's your number 4. So nothing realistic out. My number 4 is a more realistic mom. I see how this is going. You're going with the more, you know, bubblegum stuff. Well, Bev Goldberg, I won't even talk about that. That is not even on the not even from that decade. Contrarian. Go ahead. Go.
Argumentative. Man, you just can't leave well enough alone.
That Goldberg was not the 80s. The Goldberg. No, it was like that 70s show was filmed in the 90s. That's not a 70s. It's not a show that came out in the decade of the 1970s.
Yes, but it's based on a show that happened in the 80s. So that makes her an 80s mom.
No.
Yes.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. She's a trope of the 1980s. That whole show is a trope of the 1980s. That's what it's about. It's about
when you told me to make this list, you didn't say that I couldn't use anything. You could, you know, and you knew earlier in the day that this was the list that I was going with, which means you could have had lots of opportunity. You could have said, look, you know what? Listen, I need you to pick somebody different. This one just doesn't count. So you're going to have to change it. But you didn't do that, mostly because
I was busy. Because I was busy creating this podcast today. So like, if you're gonna choose somebody stupid, that's good. That's up to you. All right. So
I think you're just upset because more people like my list than they like yours.
yeah, leave comments. Let us know whose list you like better. All right. Okay. So my number 4 is Marge Simpson. Now that's a realistic mom. Okay,
What?
she's a cartoon. Okay, you're gonna tell me she's a cartoon. Is that what you're gonna tell me?
Obviously she's a cartoon, but she's
Okay.
not just a mom of like that's you want to talk about, you want to dump on my side of the list, that she was a TV mom of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, the 2020s.
The show came out in the late 80s. It debuted on not the Truman Show. What was her freaking name? I mean, oh fuck. Anyways, they were a skit on a show. It was out in 1987. Could you Google that for me, please? I forgot what was the name of that. Oh, I hate when I don't know.
Frustrated. You should.
Yes, because you're getting me frustrated. Because I know. Okay, while I'm looking for this, please tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, there's an abundance of reasons that you're wrong. I mean, the biggest one is obviously, how is she supposed to be a TV mom of the 80s when she is timeless, right? Marge Simpson, and she's a great choice. She's an excellent mom. She is everything that a mom should be. But like, how can you say that she's a mom of the 80s? You couldn't be more wrong on this one. I can't wrap my head around how it is you make these selections. It drives me up the wall, to be honest with you, because she's not a TV mom of the 80s. She's just a TV mom, right?
Okay, the show was created in the 80s. Okay, and I don't know where I got the Truman Show, but it's the Tracy Ullman Show.
Truman, Tracy Ullman, pretty much the same thing.
It's because of the bubbly. There's obviously probably something else in here.
Oh my god, trademark, a little bit of the bubbly.
All right, so yeah, Tracy Ullman Show. I never saw that show. That's why I flubbed it up. But apparently, I remember reading. And we're gonna go off topic here, but I remember reading that Tracy Ullman was really upset because The Simpsons made it big, and then her show didn't. And then she wanted to get credit for making The Simpsons and all of that. But anyways, that's a story for another day. But yeah, Marge Simpson is a realistic mom. And she started off in the 80s. Today, she would be considered a millennial because the show's still on. But
she's still going strong, so she's not a mom of the 80s.
She is a mom of the 80s.
She was a mom of the 80s, maybe, but that's about it. She's not a mom of the 80s.
Can I get to my point? I won't even argue with you anymore. Okay. All right.
That's because you know I'm right.
No, you're wrong. She's a mom of the 80s. I don't care. You listen, the best Simpson shows were in the late 80s, early 90s. You could even say that she's a mom of the 90s. But everything after the 10-year mark, the Simpsons sucked. Or were less good. I wouldn't say sucked. Less good. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. The Simpsons definitely used to be better than what they are.
All right. So Marge Simpson loved her son Bart. She loved Lisa. She loved Maggie. She was the rock that held that family together. I don't remember an episode where Marge and Homer were having some marital difficulties, and she decides that I think she was really stressed out, and she decides to go on a retreat just for herself to decompress, unwind. And Homer now has to take care of the household. That's a classic show. That show was so funny. So she leaves. She goes on this retreat. He ends up making them junk for dinner. The house is destroyed. He loses Maggie. I mean, all hell broke loose. They found the baby just before she got home. Thank God. I'm not sure if they lost any of the pets, but anyways, Homer's a complete train wreck. And Marge was the glue that held that family together, all while being realistic. It wasn't this bubblegum mom that you saw from a lot of the 80s shows. She was an honest to goodness, good mom, good wife, middle class wife, a lot like Roseanne, I would say. And yeah, she's my number 4. What do you got to say about that, Ginger?
I would probably say that at best she's a mom of the 90s.
Okay, I'll give you that. Maybe you're right with that.
because like her best character work was when in the 90s. So I would say that, you know, she's probably a mom of the 90s, proving my point originally that she's not a mom of the 80s.
You know, even when I give you a bit of props, you still have to, you know, just shove that knife a little bit deeper inside me. Clown shoes. Okay, so what's your number 3? We're down to number 3, and I'm not even sure if this one was a mom. I got to look this up. But anyways.
Oh, come on. Come on. No. Everybody is going to agree with me on this one. Listen, she's your mom. She's my mom. She's everybody's mom.
She has to actually be a mom.
Listen, she was a mom. She was a mom in every sense of the word other than birthing, which, you know, barely counts for anything these days. So I'm just going to come out and say it. None other than the legendary Betty White, Rose Nyland.
Okay, I'm looking this up. I don't think she was a mom, and I love the Golden Girls. I don't remember an episode of her being a mom.
She was everybody's mom. Come on, you've got to admit, she was everybody's mom. Even on the Golden Girls, she was everybody's mom. She was scatterbrained, she was loving, she was compassionate, you know.
All right, I'm going to give you props, man. You're right. I don't think all right, so over the course of the series, Rose names 5 children: Bridget, Ganilla, Kristen, Adam, and Charlie Jr. So, yeah, she had 5 kids.
So what you're telling me is not only am I right, but you, Mr. Golden Girls super fan, and you are beyond a doubt a super fan of the Golden Girls.
I got the Funko Pops. I gotta show you a T-shirt afterwards. Anyways, I
am not here, and I'm not going to judge either, because the Golden Girls is, if you're coming here to speak ill about the Golden Girls, then this just isn't the place for you, because amazing. But we're not here to talk about that. Rose was undoubtedly an amazing mom, and she was everything that a mom really should aspire to be. She was kind, compassionate. Was she a little scatterbrained from time to time? Yes, but that's okay when you're a mom. She was special, you know, and it's impossible for me to look at her and not put her in this list. I know you didn't get, oh my goodness,
2 bubbles.
Beverage number 2. Holy cow. Getting heavy on the sauce tonight.
Yeah.
Rose was magnificent, and she was the glue that held the Golden Girls together, and that clearly makes her a mom, not just because of her 5 children, but just because of how awesome she was as a person and how well she kept everything running smoothly in the Golden Girls.
Yeah, and you know, we can't really talk about the 80s trope, you know, perfect mom here, because the Golden Girls weren't perfect. And that's what made that show so great, is that they had so many flaws, right? And Rose had her flaws. We know Blanche did. Blanche probably had the best flaws.
Right? I think Blanche had a lot of really good flaws.
Yeah. She spent most of her series on her back there. But yeah, I agree with you. I think, you know, God, I'm embarrassed that I didn't know that she had 5 kids, but yeah, Rose is a special character. One of my, was she my, no, she's not my favorite character on the Golden Girls, but she definitely was the glue that held them together. Because I think Blanche and Dorothy and even Sophia were like, I don't know, they were like these, they took up a lot of space, a lot of room, right? And they were always at each other's necks and throats. It was Rose that sort of did, you know, calm the temperature down a little bit. So I agree with you there, Ginger. You're right, man. I'll give you props. Congratulations.
That's the second time tonight that you've agreed with me. You know that this, I tell you, this video podcasting has totally changed who you are.
Yeah, well, because I'm trying to keep my composure. Because, you know, I know Ganochi's watching this right now and he's probably cracking up. But did I tell you how like full your beard looks?
It's very thick.
Yeah,
it's very, very thick.
Does the wife like it?
She's the reason why it's so long. She doesn't want me to shave it.
So you said thick and long in the same sentence, and I'm just happy as a clam. It's exactly what I wanted you to do. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. My number 3. Oh fuck. Is this even someone from the 80s?
No, probably not. You screwed up most of your list already.
Did I fuck this up? Can I
You did. You
no
totally.
Way. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me see. Ganoci's
can-
Ganoci's is tweeting me. I don't know why. Okay, for let me a second. Please tell me the show came out in the 80s.
It did not.
Shut up. Oh, fuck.
I know. You screwed it all up. I knew you were going to. I knew there was no way that you'd be able to get it straight. But, whatever. Here we are. It is what it is.
Fudge, man. How did I? No, wait. Oh, I'm thinking about Family Matters.
You sure are?
No. All right. Aunt Viv.
Aunt Viv.
1990 to 96 is where it looks like The Fresh Prince aired. For some reason, I thought it was 1989.
Well, you thought wrong. And that doesn't surprise me a whole lot because you do that all the time. But I knew that going into it. I knew that Aunt Viv was not a mother of the 80s.
Wait a minute. Why didn't you warn me? What were you doing today besides choking your Cobra chicken?
I tried to warn you, but you were too busy trying to set this shenanigans up that you didn't want to listen to anything that I had to say.
I was too busy getting my hair to look exactly like Vanilla Ice tonight. For some reason, I don't know why my hair looks like this. Weird. But all right. So look, I'm still going to talk about Aunt Viv because I put her there. All right. So 1990. Sorry, guys, I screwed it up. You'll notice that a lot in this show. We're not a very good podcast. All right, so Aunt Viv, I'm gonna give her props. Probably one of the best TV moms in the 90s. All right. Again, very strong character. I like strong women. Strong women for me, do it for me. They do it for me.
I have no doubt.
All right, except for Roseanne. Roseanne, she's strong, but she kind of doesn't do it for me. But Marge Simpson, yeah, when she puts her hair down and stuff, yeah. Aunt Viv, she takes in her nephew, who's a complete jackass when he comes in. She's got a preppy son. She's got a really sweet little girl, and a ditz of a daughter as well. But, someone that's hardworking, that, she's very successful in life, married to a very successful man, but doesn't let it get to her head, remembers where she came from. And that's what I always loved about The Fresh Prince, about Aunt Viv especially, and Uncle Phil as well, is that they never forgot who they were before they made it, before they got big, and they moved out to Cali. She was someone that talked a lot about women's rights and black rights and getting out there and walking the streets, boots on the ground type of person. Heck of a dancer too. I used to love watch. There's one episode where she's in this nice leotard. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself here and I'm getting too excited, but she represented strong women to me. And Claire Huxtable, you could say the same thing about her. All right, Claire Huxtable was a very strong woman as well. What I like about Fresh Prince is a little bit more realistic. As for the guy moves out to see his aunt and uncle in Bel Air. I don't know how realistic that is, but the fact of the matter is, they talked about. I think things were a little bit more real than the Cosby Show did, and she was just a super strong lady. And if I'm a woman, if I'm a young girl, that's who I'm looking up to. I'm looking up to somebody like that, So Aunt Viv, not technically an 80s mom, but she's up there for me. So thumbs up.
I'm going to give you a thumbs up on that one. I know you screwed it up. And the real reason why I didn't bother to say anything to you is because Aunt Viv is one of the TV moms that I grew up on. Full disclosure, for those that don't know, I am substantially younger than Vin Mancini, and I wasn't born until the late 80s. So for me, growing up with Aunt Viv was something that I truly looked forward to. And I love watching The Fresh Prince of Bel Air to this day, to be honest with you. So I still go back and watch those. That's a show that I am particularly fond of.
All right. You grew up in the late 80s. I grew up in the early 80s. But you know what? We don't look too dissimilar. Mind you, I'm much more handsome than you are.
Well, yes, you do kind of have that California surfer boy look going on there. If you put a little bit of the frosted tips in, you might be able to get away. You might pass for like Justin Timberlake or something.
You're talking about the other one. What was his name? There was not Joey Fatoni. Who are they?
The fact that you could name more than one of the Backstreet Boys is deeply concerning to me.
It's in sync.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was a difference.
Listen, I liked NSYNC, all right? There's nothing wrong with that.
I have no doubt that you liked NSYNC. You definitely seem like the type of person that would listen. Maybe you could be friends with my wife. She also liked NSYNC.
And I like the Backstreet Boys too. They actually have really good stuff. Like their latest albums are pretty good. I would suggest listening to them.
They still have albums coming out?
Yeah, they're like just
a less talented Nickelback.
Oh God, don't talk to me about Nickelback. They're like Justin Bieber, but only talented.
They're Canadian?
No. And no. I said
they're like Justin. You said they're like Justin Bieber, but talented. But yeah, Bieber's Canadian.
Their sound is a little Bieber-esque, but they actually sing well. They don't have.
How is their sound a little Bieber-esque when they came out like I don't know 10 decades?
Bro, listen to their latest albums, and then you tell me. Seriously, just download it. I'm sure you have a streaming app. Download like their latest album.
Well, I have Spotify, but I mean, why would I? That doesn't make any. Okay, why would I want to download?
All right,
I've never listened to any Justin Bieber music to even compare it to. Do you want me to download Justin Bieber too?
Yeah, give me a comparison. Justin Bieber. Look, I like contemporary music. It's okay. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, sure. You tell yourself that.
All right, let's go. What's your number 2?
All right, so keeping in the spirit of keeping with the list, yes, my number 2 is Angela Bauer.
Hey, Angela!
And Who's the Boss was hilarious.
It was
absolutely hilarious.
Such a dumb show.
Who cares if it was a dumb show? It doesn't need to be a smart show to be entertaining.
It was entertaining. I liked Who's the Boss.
Exactly. And like if you took it as if you wanted to draw life lessons and like form personalities around it, like you would have a hard time. It's fine, right? But like you just wanted to laugh at it. You wanted to have a good time. You wanted to sit down and forget about things. And that's exactly what Angela Bauer brought to the show.
So you're putting on there because she was the star of the show? Not Mona?
She wasn't. Listen, she might not have been the star of the show, but it takes an incredible supporting actress to be a real mom of the 80s. And that's exactly, she is a mom of the 80s in all the senses that you could possibly imagine. So we'll give her a little bit of credit, right? Yeah, exactly. She looked good. Yeah, she had the haircut. She cooked. She cleaned.
What? She didn't cook. She didn't cook.
She was an amazing chef.
She didn't cook. No, it was Tony Danza.
Tony Danza didn't cook a gosh darn thing.
He made spaghetti and meatballs. You make spaghetti and meatballs. Hey, I'm making pancakes. Oh. He always used to do that shit, man.
But that doesn't mean that it was real.
Listen, she was the prototypical 80s mom in looks, 100%. But was she the quintessential 80s mom? I don't think so. Man. Mona was more of a mom. I would say I like Mona so much more than I liked Angela. It's not even funny. That show, you could remove Angela from that show and it would still be good just because of Tony Maselli and Mona.
I think you just feel that way because you've got an affiliation to like the Golden Girls and you like the senior ladies a little bit more than what you're letting on. I think that's probably why you would want to replace Angela with Mona.
Yeah, that's right. Mona was a gilf, by the way. Okay,
so that way you could make her Mona.
Yeah, exactly. She put out more in a week than Angela put out in a year, guaranteed. She was hot to trot, man.
Hey, maybe it was just because it was the wrong person asking. I'm just saying. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm just saying that Angela Bauer was an excellent 80s TV mom.
Oh, yeah, perfect. She quintessential. She had the look and everything. The big-ass glasses, the shoulder pads, kind of
burned the pork roast.
She had those 80s mom jeans. Remember those? They're coming back now. Everyone's wearing those mom jeans now.
I know.
The mom jeans have come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still rocking my rib jeans, but not the mom jeans are coming back.
It's a good look.
You like the mom jeans? Yeah.
Oh man, I'm here for it. I'm down.
Okay.
I'm hip.
Let's talk about Who's the Boss a little bit. That show, you're right. It was a really good show. In fact, I'd love to do a whole episode on that one day, just talking about Who's the Boss, because it left me with a lot of good memories. I had, like everybody else, had a huge crush on Alyssa Milano, Sam.
Of course.
She was just like every kid's dream growing up. Like that's a girlfriend you want, but Tony Danza, the idea of a male housekeeper, that is such an 80s trope. It is
Right?
such an 80s trope. It's something
And a
that
90s one too, though, because like it carried over. Like if you think about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? Jeffrey?
he was a butler.
Same thing.
It's not. It's maybe. Am I going
So
to
you
agree
want
with
to
you
talk
again?
about who? Well, yeah, it's the same thing. So Who's the Boss, for those that don't know, ran from the fall of 1984 to the spring of 1992.
So it's technically a 90s show too.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
One could even argue that Angela Bauer was a TV mom of the 80s and the 90s, unlike your choices, who barely scratched the surface of a TV 80s mom.
She's such an idiot. All right. Well, all right. Good choice. Good choice. My number 2, and this one actually came out in 1989, so I'm okay. All right. I'm going to go with another strong woman, Harriet Winslow. Think about,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, Family Matters was such a good show. I love Family Matters until it started becoming all about Urkel. Did you know Urkel had his own cereal?
I know something that Urkel has right now that's all his own, but it's not cereal. Although I bet you it goes really good with a nice bowl of cereal.
What are you talking about? What does he have now?
Oh, you don't know. You really don't know, or you just like
No, I
setting me up
don't
for a
know.
spot? You don't know?
No, let me know. I don't know. What did he do now?
I think you should fire up the Google machine and don't say it out loud. I'll say it out loud when I just want to get your live reaction to Urkel's business venture.
His business venture. The cast of Family Matters leaves fans worried about Jaleel White. Okay, I guess I got to go into news. Yeah, I found that. Did he do something freaking disgusting or what?
No, he didn't do something disgusting or anything at all, to be honest with you.
Wanted. Oh. Okay.
Just so that way everybody knows that I'm not just trolling and like I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Urkel has his own brand of marijuana.
All right. So is it? Does it have the word? Does it have the name Urkel in it? Or is it
It's Jaleel White, but that's not the point. The point is that's his new business venture. I think that's all right. Yeah, I was as shocked as anybody was to find out. Just add that to the list of things that he has in common with a couple other famous personalities.
Well, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just
I don't see anything wrong with it either. I
didn't expect Urkel to be associated with that. I mean,
with Mary Jane. Yeah, I know. Eh? Isn't it pretty wild?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, okay. Yeah, back to Harriet Winslow. Is that again another strong 80s mom. So everybody knows, if anybody watched shows in the 80s and is a big nerd like me, will know that Family Matters was a spin-off from another amazing 80s show called Perfect Strangers. So Harriet Winslow worked in the same building as Balki and Kosen Laddie. And they liked her so much that they created a show with her and Carl Winslow. And the show wasn't doing too well at the beginning. It wasn't until Urkel came in um, that it really catapulted. And then, unfortunately, they made everything about Urkel afterwards, which brought down the show. So he was like a sweet poison. He came in at the right time, but then he ended up destroying the show. But she was great. And I find that towards the end of the seasons, towards the end of the series, they sort of, I wouldn't say she was being written off the show, but she wasn't as important as she was. She was Carl's conscience a lot of the time. She watched what he ate, and she was a typical mom, but again, very strong, hardworking, middle class. As someone that I loved, and sometimes she would come up with some really good jokes on the show. So Harry Winslow is my definitely my number 2 of all time 80s moms.
She was special, you know that, and I'll give you a little bit of credit here to make you feel good about yourself.
About time.
Family Matters was a show that I grew up on too, being born in the late 80s. I watched it all the time, and I liked Urkel. But if you watch the show from the lens of where we are now, looking back on it, she was, as you said, she was a quintessential 80s mom, right? Yeah. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more than what she was willing to give. And yes, she took a lesser role in the show as the show went on, but she was awesome, and she was very entertaining to watch. And yes, was she part of the conscious of the show? She definitely was, but she always had good advice, and she was entertaining. She had a couple of good zingers as well, too, right? She was talented.
It was most of the stuff that she didn't say too that I liked. Like she would just give Carl a look from across the table, or she'd put her hands on her hips like this, and she would just give one of her stares. I just loved it. It was great. I think represented Chicago very well. It was a very Chicago show. So yeah, again, Midwestern. Again, you were looking at that Midwestern family, hardworking family. Guy was a cop. Great show overall. I just wish they didn't make it into a cartoon at the end. It became a real cartoon, especially when Urkel he started creating these things like, where he turned himself into like Stefan Urkel. Remember that?
Oh my God! When he would take the what was it, the potion that he made?
No, or he would go into a machine. Did he travel back in time too?
I don't remember what it was.
He did a rocket.
I remember when he transformed into Stefan, and like he was a totally different. Like, come on, like it just.
And all the girls were like, and here I am. Yeah, exactly, man. Right. Here I am wondering, where the hell do I get one of these things to make me less of a nerd? But yeah, exactly. So we're moving on to our number ones. It's getting there. I'm not sure I agree with your number 1. I got to be honest with you. Like this person,
you can disagree.
I'll let you introduce it, and then I will tell you why I think you're absolutely wrong. But go ahead.
Okay, so building into this list, I put a lot of thought and effort into this, and I wanted to pick somebody who there was a lot of effort put into this. She was, hardworking. She kept the house nice and clean. She cooked good meals. She constantly wanted to put out. She was an inspiration to teenage girls everywhere. She was everything that every girl wanted to grow up and be. Really? I picked as my number 1 none other than Peg Bundy.
Okay.
From Married with Children.
Yeah.
It's not enough that she was married to none other than the legendary quarterback Al Bundy.
Yeah.
2 great kids, a beautiful house, like watching game shows in the afternoon, smoking cigarettes, constantly asking her husband for love and attention. Like she was everything that you wanted at it being a TV mom. Like she was funny. She had tons and tons of jokes. One could argue that Al Bundy wasn't even the star of Married with Children, that Peggy absolutely was.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you on that. I think they made a great TV couple. Like that show was a big FU to all the 80 shows that came before it. And thank God for Fox coming on and just stirring the pot, because it literally, I wasn't allowed to watch that show when I was a kid. Wasn't allowed to have it to watch it. I think I started when I first learned about it. I was probably in my late teens, so it was already the show was off. Was it off the air by then? Yeah, it was off the air. It was a big fu to all the Full House. Like when I think about like the typical 80s family trope with the and the clapping and the woo and when someone kisses, they were the antithesis to all of that, and it was just one of the funniest shows ever. It would never be made today because there's too much stuff that's taboo. Just the fat jokes that he makes. There's a whole, like, if you go on YouTube, well, you are on YouTube right now, but if you go and look up Al Bundy insults, and I'm sure you probably did if you're a nerd, it's just, there was nothing. The writing was so good. Everything was so good about that show. But was she the best mom? No. But that's what made it good.
She was the best mom.
No, she wasn't. She was a horrible mom. She was a terrible.
She wasn't. She loved her kids. They were well cared for. They grew into functional members of society.
Her son is a loser, and her daughter was sleeping around with everybody. That's not a winner mom right there, man.
No, that's loser kids. It's not a reflection of the mother at all.
Kids are a reflection. Kids are a reflection of the parents, plain and simple. 100%.
Well, I could have a couple things to say about that, but alas, this is a place to escape and not to drag reality.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't think she was a great mom. Great wife, yes. Every dude, and this is what I never understood about Al Bundy. I was like team Al Bundy on everything except when it came to sex. He had a hot wife because Peck Bundy's hot.
Right? Side effect of being a ginger.
She always made herself up. Loved the way she walked in those heels. Oh, Al, let's have sex. Oh, no, Peg. Like, what are you, stupid? Just go upstairs and go do it. Like, married men, you know the drill. It's not like that in real life. So it's unrealistic. Okay, don't tell me it's like that for you. Okay, well, you want to fucking what?
I don't know. My wife asked me to have sex with her on a regular basis. I mean, I'm no Al Bundy, but I mean,
if it was up to her, she'd be having him like 3 times a day, 4 times a day. That's not realistic in married life.
I disagree.
Okay, whatever. You're so I'm happy for you, Mike.
Probably a side effect of being a ginger.
Yeah, tell Doreen that she has terrible taste. That's all I gotta say.
Listen, I am not going to tell her that because she might wake up one day and realize that it's she picked me.
I'm playing, but no, she probably not the best mom, but that's exactly what we needed. We needed someone not to be the best mom. We needed someone to be, to be funny, just to make us laugh. And when you watch that show, that's what it was about. It was about just laughing, having a good time. And he was such a loser too. Like, I love that how much of a loser he was as well. Like he worked in a shoe store, for Christ's sake. Like it was just like, come on, like it's. And people would go, like the school kids would, the high school kids would go to the school and they make fun of him. They'll go to the store and they would make fun of him during the day. It's great. I just loved it. But best mom, no. My choice for best mom, I think we could all agree on. You ready for this one? You won't agree with it?
No.
You don't agree?
No, of course I don't agree with it. It's ridiculous.
Right. Sophia Petrillo is the best mom, TV mom of the 1980s. And I can tell she's the oldest of the Golden Girls. You know who that is. You want to get me nervous right now? Is that what you're trying to do?
What are you talking about? Get you nervous? Why would I get you nervous?
Because you're frustrating me. You know who that is. Why are you asking me who's that?
Because I don't know who it is. That's not even who you have on your list.
What are you talking about? This is exactly what I have on my list.
That's not even who you have on your list. You have a totally separate name on there. You have Roseanne as your number 1.
No, I added her to my number 5, and I put Sophia as my number 1.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm positive.
Now, see, that doesn't make any sense. The list that I have says you picked Sophia as number 5 and Roseanne as number 1.
No, my number 1.
And then you're here trying to tell me like Roseanne is awesome, but she's not even a mom of the 90s.
Okay, whatever. Sophia Petrillo for me is my number 1. I'm telling you right now. I just put it. Look, the banner played at the bottom. It says Sophia Petrillo. That's it. She's my number one. Best
Sophia
mom
is your number one. Are you sure?
Yes, she is. Yes.
Okay.
Why?
Well, I was just curious. That's all. Is she even a mom?
I'm gonna hurt you. Like if I could come into that screen and just take that ginger neck of yours and maybe pull on your beard a little bit. Why are you obnoxious like this? Like you know the Golden Girls. You
Of course I know the Golden
Betty
Girls.
White.
I know,
You
of
knew
course,
that she had
yes.
five. You knew she had 5 kids and I didn't.
Yes, exactly. Right. That's why I'm asking you: is Sophia Petrillo even a mom?
Dorothy Zbornak is her daughter.
Who's that?
B. Arthur.
B. Arthur? Oh, B. Arthur's really nice. She's a good TV mom. Probably the best TV mom of them all.
I'm not denying that she's a good TV mom. I'm just saying Sophia, what for me was the best 80s TV mom ever. Because she's so the one-liners that came out of that woman, first of all, were just so fantastic. She had to deal with a Mama Luke, and she says that a lot in the show, like Stan Zbornak as Dorothy's husband. All right. She moved in with her daughter, which is pretty tough on a mom, too. I can imagine that moving in with a bunch of horny middle-aged women is not easy for a person of that age. But she made pasta sauce almost every night. She reminds me of my nonna. I guess that's what it is. Like my nonna, like you put a picture of my grandmother in the 1990s and you put a picture of Sophia and it's like identical. To me, it's
and
like
they would both want to be doing the dirty with Bob Barker.
they both loved, yeah, 100%. Nonna loved Bob Barker. Bob Barker number one. So yeah, I really believe that. And she just the one-liner she would pull, like it just the sarcasm. And what's amazing is the actress Estelle Getty, who played her, was suffering from dementia during the show, especially towards the end, and couldn't remember her lines. A lot of times that they had to stop and they had to reshoot and stuff like that. And she would just, it was almost like natural. She would just deliver the stuff like it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. And she, again, she loved her daughter to pieces. Wasn't the most overly affectionate mom, I would say. But that's the way Italian moms were. Maybe that's why I look at that and say, yeah, that sort of resonates with me because, she was a typical Italian mom. Like don't show much emotion, but you kind of show it in other ways. So yeah, Sophia was number one in my book. I got a little Funko Pop too. I got all of the 4 Golden Girls.
I have no doubt that you do.
I'll show it next time on the next show. Maybe if we do a show on the Golden Girls, I'll bring them out.
Well, we have to do a show on the Golden Girls. Nobody wants to miss that. The Golden Girls are awesome. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
So that is our top 5. And it's not a bad list. I got upset when I saw Bev Goldberg, but you know what? I'll let you live for this time.
You'll let me live for this time. You just can't find another co-host. No.
I'll put an application form in in the notes. No, Mike, it was great. You know what? For our first show on camera, not bad. I gotta say it's not bad.
I feel good about this. I think I think this is a good decision on our part.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing for them to get to listen to our sultry tones, but now, like, man, our sex appeal has gone through the roof, right? Like, I got to tell you, like, they get to look at us now too. Like, we are studs.
Especially you.
I know, and if you put in your frosted tips, who knows, Justin Timberlake, you will be the next hot thing.
People are going to see me having meltdowns on this show. Look forward to it because it's going to happen. I'm trying to be in my best behavior right now. But yeah, that's it, man. That's all we got for today. Mike, tell our listeners and our viewers now where they can find us.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. So bear with me for a couple of seconds here. You can follow us on Twitter at The Last 30 Years. You can join our Facebook group, The Last 30 Years Universe. You can hop on over to YouTube and you can find us on YouTube at The Last 30 Years Pod. And at some point during this week, I will be putting us up on the old TikToker, and you'll be able to follow us on TikTok at the last 30 years. You can follow me on Twitter at mmanagermike. You can follow Vin Mancini at GibFender1 on Twitter. You can follow the podcast on Instagram still, yes, at
yes, but it's really old stuff. But I'm gonna have to start updating that for sure.
We're around. And,
yeah, we're
and of
around.
course, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Are we on Stitcher? I don't know. I've never even used Stitcher.
No, I don't think we're on Stitcher.
But you can still get us on Spotify, and you can still get us on Apple
Yeah.
Podcasts, which is really where you want to be getting it. And if you like the show, please leave a 5-star review. Say some nice words. Poor Vin needs some nice words in his life. You know that. I could use a couple too. You know that. I get them a little more frequently than Vin because I'm, me. But please leave a review. Say nice things. I'd like to get this podcast out to more people. More people need more Triple M Market Manager Mike and Vin Mancini in their lives.
Exactly. No, you couldn't have said it better. And you know what? I'm going to give you some props. This week, you really stood up to the plate. Because we were doing this transition. I couldn't, before it was, I got to say, I did a lot of the work. And this week, man, like you really did a lot of work, putting the YouTube channel together, getting our accounts all set up. To me, that took a lot off my shoulders, off my plate, and I'm gonna give you a round of applause. I don't have a soundboard yet for this, but soon I'm gonna get a soundboard. You're gonna hear all the crazy shenanigans that you heard, that you're used to listening to when you listen to the podcast. But thanks, Mike, for all the hard work you did this week. I really appreciate it.
Hey, listen, I love working with you. I know it's gonna come to a bit of a shock, but we actually like each other. It's really weird. People seem to think that we've got this hatred against each other, but we are friends.
Yeah, we are. I mean, you have bad taste in sports teams, except for the Habs, but aside from that, we're okay.
What are you talking about? Bad space and bad taste in sports teams?
Yeah,
my sports teams are amazing, brother. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, listen, have you tried
the strawberry bubbly?
No, I've never had bubbly.
You gotta have bubbly. It's so good.
I can't. Listen. It's bad enough.
Not sponsored by bubbly.
Those. I've got SodaStream. Is what we like to use.
Okay, well that's fine. But I recycle. Okay, SodaStream is good. I mean, you don't have any waste. But we're not sponsored by bubbly at all. But I love it. And I love Michael Bublé. He's got the process.
That doesn't surprise me. He does kind of have a little bit of the Bieber tunes going on there, and he is Canadian.
It's so refreshing. Like there's times where like I want to grab a beer. I'm like, it's empty calories, man. I don't need that in my life. I exercise, go to the gym, I take care of myself. I'm like, I got the fizz without the calories. I got the fizz without the jizz. I got the fizz without the calories, man. This is great. It tastes good too. All good, man. Bubbly, if you're listening to this, we're open for sponsorship.
We are open for sponsorship. And you know what? If you want to sponsor us, we would even let Michael Bublé come on the podcast.
We might, yeah, maybe. That's if you.
We'll see. We'll see, right?
As long
Depends on whether or not he can watch his mouth, right? Because we're not allowed to swear on YouTube.
Well, I did swear a couple of times. Are we going to get demonetized on the first show?
Well, I'll have you know that we're not monetized yet because you have to hit a certain amount of subscribers on the YouTube channel. So I'm really hoping that people actually do go over. I did look at the monetization of it, and it's very achievable. But if you want to support the podcast, if you want to support our channel, then subscribe and leave us a review.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. We hope you enjoyed our first show. We do these weekly. We have bi-weeks. Just to recharge your old batteries, but we usually do these every Sunday, and this should be out tonight on our listening platforms. And Mike, you should be able to get this out tonight as well, right on YouTube. So that's it. We're bidding adieu from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I am Vin Mancini,
and signing off from Cape Breton Island. I am Triple M Market Manager Mike.
All right, adios.
As the years keep rolling on, my feelings remain strong. For the last 30 years, for the last 30 years. As we're counting down the years, the laughter and the tears. For the last 30 years, for the last 30 years.